Should go? Is everybody ready? Want to hear my thing? Okay, so my name is Allison Liles. I'm a UX UI designer at Barracuda Networks. We make hardware, software, and cloud IT products that protect people from cybersecurity breaches, ransomware, all kinds of stuff. I was inspired to do this talk because I think a lot of people think product design is mostly just about creating screens and interactions and stuff that you can visually see. But there's a lot of problem solving that goes with it, and there's a lot of questions you have to ask. So I wanted to bring up some of the things that I think are the most important beyond making any kind of mock-ups, like learning how to ask the right questions. These are things that anybody can do to put themselves in the right product design mindset. Like think about how to solve these problems. So I'm just going to share some of the products that are really, I was just going to give you an idea of like how people have successfully solved product problems from my own experience. So recently, I just moved into an apartment and all of my leasing paperwork was signed on my phone, online. It was awesome. I didn't have to fax anything. I didn't have to go to the office. This was a product designer crafted that for me. And it was just so much win. So much win. I don't know if you guys use online banking on your phone. Who wants to go to a bank? Nobody. That is also win. Right there. I don't ever mail stuff anymore because everything you can pay online. In my pajamas, just win for days. All of these things help me accomplish tasks and make my life easier. They save me time, money, and frustration. Those experiences were crafted by product designers who took time to understand the problems I faced. So how do we create these products that are successful and meaningful to our users? When beginning a product design process, it can be hard to know where to begin. And sometimes you're designing a new product, sometimes you're designing a feature for a product, an add-on for a product. All these things have their own sets of issues. So where do we start? Sometimes somebody once described product design problems to me as a tangled string of Christmas lights, if this video will play. So this is how it feels sometimes. Like they just give you this thing and you're like, what do I do with this? How do I fix this? Because most companies can't afford to create something that fails. They don't have the time or resources to waste on unsuccessful products. We want to create something that is awesome. We want to entangle those lights. I don't know, do you guys recognize this? Yeah? This is the fabled awesome house at the end of Christmas Tree Lane. So generally, products and features come from an idea that is fueled by an objective or a goal that is important to an individual or an organization. There has to be a reason to want to build something. Like, why would an organization build something if there wasn't in it for them? It is important to know why are you building the things and what it means for your organization. Maybe the reason we are doing this is because we want to bring joy to people. How do we know if we have succeeded? Based on your organizational objective for the project, such as we want to have a Christmas light display, you should define measurable metrics that you use to gauge your progress and success on the initiative. How do you know if you're succeeding if success isn't clearly defined? I see this problem a lot, is that you'll go into, we want to build this thing, and you don't have any way to know if you've succeeded in building this thing. So in this for some examples of that could be to generate $1 million of profit in 1 year, to reduce support calls for an onboarding process by a certain percentage, to grow a user base by 20%, some number. So in our example, maybe we want to set our metric for success to be that we get at least 50 people a week to visit our light display. These measurable goals give us a clear path to follow and should be based off of our original objective. This is something that can be overlooked in the product design process, but can be one of the most valuable to the overall success of the project. It gives us the ability to measure our progress. So if we built this product and we only had 25 people show up to our house to look at the lights, then we hit 50% of our goal. What can we do to better bridge the gap between our results and our actual goal? We know we didn't hit our goal, and we should take steps to understand what we can do to improve. So after we have our destination, so we know what our goal is, we should theorize on what we think this product or feature should do. What do users need or want? What is their motivation, and how do we leverage this in order to meet our goals and objectives? There needs to be a product, here's some examples. There needs to be a product to let users share pictures. If we simplify our onboarding process, then users won't need to call support. If we add this feature, then more users will want to use our product. In our example, our theory could be that we think our users want to get in the holiday spirit, so we need to build a light display that will be special enough to set it apart from others in the neighborhood. Our hypothesis is that if we do that, then we will reach our measurable goal of getting 50 people a week. But to do this, we need to learn about the people we are building our products for. So who are the people we're building the product for? Who are our users? Maybe they're teachers or foodies or travelers. What is the education level and technological savviness of your users? If you're going to build a product for users who are not as familiar with technology, you need to account for this. What circumstances or environment are our users in? Are they at work? Are they at home? Do they have a reliable internet connection? What are your users' motivations? Are they trying to get physically fit? Are they trying to save money or time? Are they trying to get promoted? For our lights example, what kind of people do we think we are going to come to see our lights? Families, couples on a date? Are they coming to see the lights to spend time with their family? You need to know all about your users so that you can put yourself in the right mindset when coming up with the solutions. So, they all are. After you have some theories around who your users are, it's important to try and understand what problem or problems we are trying to solve for them that will align with our original product goals and objectives. You can gather a lot of insight from within your organization and community. So I lean a lot on our internal people in the company that have different perspectives than me. For some existing products, you can go back and look through support cases to see if you can see patterns or comments from users experiencing difficulties with the current implementation. You can talk to your technical support team, as they are the ones on the front lines with your customers when they call in with problems. Talk to your customer service representatives to see if there's anyone asking for features or product modifications that relate to your product. Talk to your marketing department to see what they may have heard on social media or other outlets. You can lean on people in your organization for information and feedback on your theories. This is particularly valuable if you do not have the resources or time to go out and conduct formal research. The best way to do it, the most beneficial way to find out what concerns your users, is to take the time to directly ask them. You can do this through interviewing them. Interviewing users is an important skill to learn, but it can be difficult to craft the right questions to gather insights. That sometimes they can't articulate their problems, so you have to bring that out of them through these questions. And when I interview, I keep some things in mind. So I usually try to start interviews with an icebreaker, and I also use these icebreaker questions to gather information to create personas within the company. I always have a goal for my user interviews, so I'm going into this interview session trying to figure out if they think they understand what this word means, or do they know where to save something, like just general tasks. One of the hardest things to do is don't ask leading questions. So don't specifically say, does this frustrate you? Because they're gonna say, yes, that does frustrate me. You're influencing their opinion. So try to say things like, how do you feel about this? Or what are you thinking when I talk to you about or show you this? What do you think this word means, type of thing. Ask very simple questions that allow them to talk out what they were feeling or experiencing in their own words. Sometimes the interview can get off track very easily. Find subtle ways to take control again without influencing it and try to get it back on the original topic. It takes a lot of practice to be able to do that. And sometimes some interviewees are a little bit harder to get back on track than others. Although sometimes you do find an interesting angle if it does get off track, and if you will have to craft questions on the fly, but you can get some valuable insight and find out things that you wouldn't have thought about before. I always thank them for offering up their time. They're taking time out of their day to help you, and most of the users I talk to are really excited to help out. They like that their opinion is heard. I learn a lot from them. There's a lot of great relationship building that can happen. So I also ask them if they would be willing to participate in user testing in the future, and generally I've never had someone say no, ever. So they're just super happy to help out. So interviewing in person is generally considered best because you can read their facial expressions and body language, but it can be very hard. Some companies just don't have the resources or the time to fly out to customers' locations and interview them. So if you don't have the ability, like most people, your company doesn't have the resources, then you can do like video conferencing. So after interviewing, you should have so much more knowledge about the problem than you initially had. It's even possible that the whole direction of the project could have changed just from talking to a first group of users. I find that product teams that constantly reiterate what the project is about and what we're trying to do for the user, those projects end up being much more successful for the users. So we've interviewed a bunch of users. We have discovered a bunch of things about maybe some of our theories that we came up with before have been completely flipped on their heads, and we're like, wow, we have to totally change our whole direction. Now that we've done that, this is when the process begins. I'm just gonna briefly go over the process. So when I find that rapid brainstorming is probably the best in the very beginning. So I'll straight up just sketch stuff. This is just a picture of my sketchbook. I'll do collaborative whiteboarding with my engineers and my product managers. So we'll all get together and we'll just grab whiteboard pens and we'll go at it. This is really great because I can get other perspectives on the problem that maybe, especially if you work on technical products like I do, I don't fully know the products like engineers know them way better than me. So sometimes I need to lean on them because I just don't understand. They're not really products that I would use in my personal life. It also helps make these engineers feel like they have a stake in the project. And my experience with working with engineers is, bless their hearts, I love engineers, and I've worked with engineers for a long time, but everybody has very strong opinions, and getting everybody into whiteboarding, and it's so collaborative that they feel like their voices are heard, and their voices are valuable, but this kind of gets them to bought in on the solution, right, if you're all working together. So after that, Sometimes I will do workflow diagrams or storyboards. I try to do workflow diagrams because they help me figure out which screens I need to design for. So they're super rough. These are probably a little bit more high fidelity than like most people's are. But I have this was done in OmniGraffle, so these are stencils that I made. So yes, it's a workflow. So you can see, like, you have to, if somebody makes a decision, what happens if it fails? What's the error state look like, right? Like, you have to figure in all these different like paths. It's a great way to find out if one of your workflows is broken too. Like, you didn't account for if somebody did this, like, type of deal. And in some cases, I jump straight into prototyping. For prototyping, I will use InVision for simple click-throughs, because it's just putting hotspots on images, and you can add slight animations. They keep upgrading the platform, so there's more and more. I use this from a piece of software called Flinto. Flinto I use when I need to show my engineers a very specific micro interaction. So, because I know that they probably won't quite understand if I describe it, so I'll create this. And there's no programming in this. This is directly from Sketch to Flinto. There's a plugin from Sketch to Flinto. It exports all your layers. It's super, super easy. For like engineers, there's actually a prototyping software named, it's actually a library called Framer, and it's JavaScript. Actually, I think in Framer it's CoffeeScript, but if you could prototype things in JavaScript if you want. So we've created our thing. We're good, right? We've created it. We found out what the problem was. We're going to celebrate. We're going to make all our users' lives so much better. But no, not so fast. Did you put your solution in front of your users and get their feedback? If you haven't done that, then you're not done. Get your proposed solution in front of users as quick as possible in order to make sure you are going in the right direction. You can test with wireframes or even paper prototypes. You can test with your InVision mockups, and you'll get really interesting feedback from your users. Like, elf statues are really scary. Maybe you didn't think about that, but the rest of the world, elf statues are scary. One of the ways you can do your user testing is give your user a task and have them go through it and just watch what they're doing and have them talk out what they're doing and how they feel and all of that. So you take all that and you make your solution better. And sorry, I got a little hiccup here. So that's a hiccup at the end. I hope that I've given you guys some really good perspective on what it takes to create a product. Almost all of what I mentioned today can be done with someone without a visual design background necessarily. Remember, understanding like goals and problems you're trying to solve is key. Maintain a sense of curiosity. Don't ever get attached to your designs or your solutions because somebody could just blow them out of the water. And that will help you produce successful products. So I'm done. Thank you. If anybody has any questions.
What has been the most difficult project you faced in a while?
My clients are product managers, so what's a difficult one? I could talk about this. So a lot of the things that I work on I can't really talk about until they're like actually released. So a project that went really smoothly just recently, our company released an Outlook add-in that encrypts emails on the fly. And my engineering team used Microsoft's new web framework, and so they had never used it before, and so we had to work together because there were a lot of limitations, like my original design could not be implemented, and so we had to Microsoft made things very difficult with this web framework. So yeah, but it's gone really successfully. Users have been asking for this feature for quite a while, so I think people are going to be really excited about it. So that went really smoothly. It's really difficult. So all of my, I am not an IT person, so I'm constantly learning about cybersecurity like every day to try to keep up with it. So all of my projects, somebody will be like, we want to add this feature, and I have to go research what center policy frameworks are, or actually, I don't know if you went to the cybersecurity talk earlier, like I totally understood a lot of what she was saying just from like what I've had to learn. So it's hard to not know what the product you're building before you design it. So yeah, I don't have a specific project I can talk about. Some of them are still going on right now.
Technical barriers have been the most.
Yeah, mostly. I don't think there's very many designers that are really that understand IT. So yeah. Anybody else have any questions?
When you were talking about prototyping, you mentioned Sketch as a link to something. What was the name of that, the link that Sketch was linked to?
Oh, so Flinto. Sketch is amazing. If you get a chance to, they have a free, you can get a free trial. It's $99 for every time you upgrade. It's like they changed the pricing model recently. It used to be $99 and you get it forever, which is amazing because Photoshop is so much more expensive, or Illustrator, or whatever people do it in. Flinto is the one that does the animations. So there's a Sketch plugin that sends you're in Sketch and you have all your mockups, and you hit the drop down, send to Flinto. It opens up Flinto and exports all the layers, so you can animate them. And if you update your Sketch mockup, you send to Flinto again, and it updates, but then it also keeps all your animation states that are done in Flinto. So it's awesome. I really like Flinto. Yeah?
Do you use these services to help you with user testing? For instance, there's this service called Lookback. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
What services do you use for user testing?
I do it all by hand. So I craft all my user interview questions in like a Microsoft Word document. I use Zoom video conferencing software, and I share my screen with them, and I'll let them take control and let them walk through it, and I'll ask them questions. So it's just, we started to play with some user testing software, like we were using, I don't know if you've heard of Zerb before. They make they're like the major competitor to Bootstrap was Foundation, was their framework. Yeah, they're located like right down the street from our office. They had like a user testing like cloud service, but we found it didn't work for us as a team, so we just do it by hand.
For reference, I think if you look back, I think it has InVision integration, so you know, check it out.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Do you have like any websites that get like user information or user insight about a website, like say Forever 21? If you go to them, but you want to find out like the age range or the users that actually go.
Oh, like market research?
Yeah,
That's what you're saying? I don't know anything. Like I've tried to find that stuff in the past for past projects, not with my company, but within previous projects. I haven't found anything specific like that yet. Probably there might be something, but you might have to pay for it. Yeah, I don't think it's free. So we have a whole marketing department, so that they don't even do that stuff for us. Like it's our job to go out and find that. But usually I'll just I can interview users. I can send out like a survey or something. So no, I don't have an answer for you for that. Sorry. No? Okay. Thanks, guys.